Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to attempt to do this line in the bingo card over on Junk Journal Fix with Sunflowers and Doors Facebook group. Now if I don't get them all done today in this video, I will do the rest in another video. I don't want the videos to be too long, and I think to do 5 projects in one video might make it a bit too long. You have to do a separate video for a separate project for each prompt, so you can't make a one item and include all 5. You have to do 5 separate items. So I have chosen this line here which says emboss, scraps, grunge, torn edge and hidden. So today I'm going to start with the emboss, and I have got, this is a freebie that's also over on Junk Journal Fix with Sunflowers and Doors page, a Facebook page, and that will be live on the 21st of February. But in the meantime, I'm just using it because I have it here, and you can use any paper you like. So to start with, I have folded this in half because it started out life as a single page like this, different paper but same sort of idea. So I've just folded that in halves like that and glued that down. I have prepared a few things because I didn't want the video to get too long. Now I'm going to cut this in halves. I'm going to make 2 tags. So how big is it? 5 3/4. So let's say that should be half, I reckon. Oh, here we go. I've got it on both sides so I can see where it's half. That's half. Now I don't think the proportions are right there, so I'm going to cut this down a little as well. So let's say I'm going to make it, if I cut it at 6 1/2, what does that look like? Yeah, that will be alright. So okay, or shall I make them both the same size? Or shall I make one a bit shorter, or a bit taller? If I make it 7, what would that look like? Oh yes, that's all right. So I'll make one 6 1/2 and one 7. Now let's cut that to the tag shape, and to do that I just use my little gadget here. I think I've got one of those punches. Actually, I used my glue stick to stick this, and I'm going to just run around the edges with this glue just to make sure that it is properly stuck. I don't have a great deal of faith in glue sticks, so I like to just add a little bit extra where it's necessary. Let's have a look up here, down here. Just check all the way around. I have already run glue the whole width. This one's got a fold, so that should be alright. Here we go. Make sure that's down. Now in this slightly taller one I'll use a slightly bigger tab. That, and then that, and then on this one I'll use this slightly smaller one. Okay, now what was our prompt? Emboss. Okay, so I'm going to take this to my big shot and I'm going to emboss it. I might just do one, so I might use, you know, this other tag for one of the other prompts. So let me go and emboss that. Now there's two sorts of embossing. There's the dry embossing, which is what I'm going to do, and with that you use your big shot and an embossing folder, or there's heat embossing, which you use embossing powder, a stamp and a heat gun. So I could do both, I suppose, but in the interest of keeping the video a reasonable length, I will just do the one. But I have got other videos on my channel that show the heat embossing, and if you put heat embossing in YouTube, you'll come up with dozens. So I'll go and emboss this and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have embossed these. Now I used a 3D embossing folder for the little envelope, and I thought I'd do that as well. And I've used a normal, oh no, that's a 3D one as well. I hope you can see that embossing on there. So one side's risen, one side's debossed, so pushed in. Okay, now I thought that I would make a little wax seal to seal my envelope up. Now I only want a little tiny one, so I've only heated up a little bit of wax, and that's plenty. Oh, that's hot. And now I've got a wax seal here. It's got a floral on it, and I'm just going to pop that on there. I just want to make the pattern. I don't really want to flatten it out too much. So I'm not allowing the full weight to drop down, I think. I'll have to leave that for a bit. Okay, now I wanted to just show you that before that wax went crazy. So now I'm going to ink around these, and I will do that off camera. You don't need to watch me do that. So I have already inked around the envelope, so I'll just do the tag. Now another thing that you can do with your embossed papers is use your ink, so ink dauber, and just rub over it, and it will bring those embossed pieces out more. You'll be able to see them better. Just go over the whole tag. I like to go all in the same direction, so all across or all up and down. Like so. So you can see that that really lifts that pattern out. Okay, so let's have a look what our little wax seal's doing. Probably bigger than I actually wanted, but it will do. And I'm just going to glue that onto there. I could have dropped the glue straight onto that and sealed it over, but I wanted to just make sure that I got what I was looking for before I actually attached it to the envelope. I didn't want it going all over the place. I'm just going to pop that off to the side a little, like that. Okay, so we've done our emboss, and I'm going to use that to decorate this a little. Firstly, I'm going to put an eyelet in here, so I'll get my crocodile and get rid of that stuff, and then I'll be back. Okay, got my crocodile here, and I'm going to put an eyelet in the tag. One little point of interest when you're using embossing folders is if your paper's too thin, you will cut through the paper with your embossing folder. especially if you're using a 3D embossing folder. So be aware of that. Some people say that give your cardstock a light spray with some water before you do your embossing. It helps apparently, but I'm just using normal paper here, so I didn't have to worry too much about that. Alright, that's that. Now I've got some ribbon here. I really don't know why I keep that in that box, but I do, so okay. A pair of scissors that cuts fabric, hard to find around here. Okay, so I'm going to put this through as a double loop. Let me get my tweezers, wherever they might be. Okay. Poke the ends through the loop. Pull them down. Now if you haven't got an eyelet on your tag, you don't want to pull too hard there because you will tear through it. Okay, so there we have some ribbon at the top. I know this is going to come off of this, and I'm going to have this ribbon everywhere, but I'm trying to keep it on there for as long as I can. Otherwise I know what will happen, it will just end up in a big tangle. Okay, now I'm going to use the envelope as I said, but because they're so similar in colour, I want to put something behind it, and I've got a couple of laces here. So I could use something like that. It's not really wide enough. I've got this one that's wider. Is it going to be wide enough? Oh yes, I think so. We could probably lift that up a little. I'm going to cut that off. I don't mind if it hangs out over the edge of my tag. Most of these laces that I use come from my mum's place. She doesn't do any crafting anymore, she just knits the lace coat hangers, so that's her favourite pastime. Now let's put some glue down here. This little bottle needs to be filled up. It's a good glue. It's the EVA glue from Boyle, and it works perfectly. I think I've got that on the right way. It's going to be the right way now. And I might just pop the envelope on like that, but I was thinking I might put something behind it. These look a bit light, don't they? They're not really grungy enough. Let's have a look here. I got this from Temu. It's $1.76. There's 8 pages in it. Perhaps that one. tear a bit of that and put behind it. What else we got here? What else do we have? Got a stamp there. What about if I just tore that stamp off and put that behind it? Ink it up. What do we think of that? I don't mind it actually. Is it too dull? Is it too dull? Do we want a bit of colour behind there? Don't really want the wide edge. Perhaps something like that. Just what you do. Fiddle around until you find something that you think looks alright. I won't have to worry about that edge because that'll be down in behind. You know, I don't have to worry about tearing it. I think I like the envelope on the top. We're not seeing much of our lace, are we? But does that matter? Not really. Look on the back of that. Might just ink a bit of that because it might overhang, and ink a bit of this stamp because that might overhang as well. Right, so let's put this down. Now you could, instead of putting the wax seal on here, you could leave that open and put a little note paper or something in there if you wanted to, or a little hidden note. That's our first part of the line. So that's emboss. So we can give that one a tick and it's done. Now, scraps. Let me put that aside for now. Scraps. I have got lots and lots of scraps, and what am I going to do with scraps? I'll collect up some scraps and I will be back. Okay, so I've got lots and lots of scraps here. Well, a few scraps. That's nothing compared to what is sitting over there. So I'm going to just make a masterboard using scraps. Some of these scraps are way too small, but let's do that. So I'm going to just put this on fast forward, and if there's anything that I think needs to be said, I will do a voiceover, but I'm basically making a masterboard using these bits and pieces. I've got some leftover, like this is cardstock scrapbooking paper that I've cut various things out of. It probably wouldn't hurt to have a straight edge along there. I might move that down there. So I'm going to use my glue stick and just work away. Okay, so there we have our masterboard, yes. So we can cut this into make whatever we want. I'm just going to clean this mess up and I'll be back. Okay, so to help sort of tie all of this together, I'm going to use some ink, and I'm going to just put that on my mat here, silicone mat, and I'm going to give that a bit of a spray with some water, plenty of water, and then I'm going to just put, so I'm just going to dab my paper down into that colour, and see how that sort of blends it all together. Could use a bit more colour up there, I think. So nothing particularly stands out on its own. Probably won't hurt to put some of that on the back as well, because you know, if we make a tag or something out of this, although the back is already tea dyed, it looks a bit speckly, doesn't it? Alright, so I'm just going to let that dry for a moment, and when that's dry I'll come back. Okay, so now I'm going to trim this overhang off of here. So it's dry now, of course, as you can see. Trim that off, and I'm going to make a side tuck out of this. So I'm going to make this one and a half inches wide. One and a half inches. So I'll just keep this now, and I'll probably make tags or journaling cards, or I can make anything out of it once I have created my mood board. And I think I might make it just a little bit shorter. My pages are normally the height of an A4 page, so I think I'm going to take this down to 7.5. Right, now of course we've got inking to do. You can not ink if you don't want to, if you're not an inker. You could sew if you wanted to. I haven't done any stitching on my projects for a while. My machine is set up in the dining room. It's about the only thing the dining room gets used for these days, except for when my mum comes to visit on a Sunday. Then we have lunch there, if we don't go out. So yeah, my machine sits there permanently these days. And yeah, so I haven't done any stitching for a while on my paper projects. Right, so that is upside down, so that's going to go this way, that way. Now I have a piece of this scrap paper here that I'm going to add to that. It will do. Okay, now I've got this piece of chipboard that is from Denise Bodie Design, so that's it's called Deco Scroll Small, and it was $1.90 when I bought it, but that was a while ago. So I'm going to put that there, and then I'm going to put this floral on here. This is Fussy Cut from a Uniquely Creative Paper Design. And I want to put it under there. Or on top of there. I think I'd like to put it on top of there, but to do that I probably need to put something behind here. So I need some cardboard. Okay, so now I could add some ink to this so it's not quite so white. I might just add just a light touch just to take that brilliant white off, but I don't want it to be too dark and blend in too much to the background. Yep. So let's stick that down. Do I want it that way or that way? I'll do it that way. Art glitter glue is great for chipboard. And this. So there we have our side tuck. So let's just say this is our page. We can pop that down there on the side, attach it here, here and here, and we've got a nice tuck there. Or we could just attach it on the side and just have it open top and bottom. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? So yeah, we can use our masterboard with for lots of other things. So that's our scraps. Let's give that a tick if I can find a pencil. There we go. Scraps. Now on to grunge. So I'm going to use this envelope that I created using one of the freebies that I created for Junk Journal Fix. So I'm going to screw this up. Now, as I said previously, I did print this on just plain ordinary printer paper, so there's not a great deal of strength or body in this, so it's pretty easy to crumple up. If you've got thicker paper, you can spray it with a light spray with a bit of water and you'll find that it will crumple up easier. Now I'm going to open that up and hope that I haven't torn it anywhere. Yep, there we go. So that's the start of our grunge. Now I'm going to take my ink dauber and my vintage photo and I'm going to ink over that. That will bring all of that crumply stuff out. And this is making it much grungier. to work on this side, and I'm going to take my stencil, any stencil, doesn't really matter, and I'm going to take a bit of gesso. Oh, I haven't had this open for a long time, so it's well sealed up, but it seems like it's still got a bit of black in there. Okay, now this, I'm using this because it's not real thick and I don't want too much texture. So now I'm just going to wipe this over my stencil, just here and there, just sticking mostly to this side. Because it's pretty thin, it probably will run together. And once again, I am not prepared because I haven't got a tub of water here with me. Okay, so here's our envelope now. We've screwed it up, we've crunched it up, we've run the ink over the top of it. We've added some gesso, which has drawn some colour up from the print. And I've got this card here, and I was thinking that I might use this, so I'll screw this up as well. Crunch, crunch, crunch. And rub my ink over that. Pop that down there. Now I've used my sanding block, wherever that is, this here. I've just rubbed over this. This card is actually out of, Christmas bonbons. So this was one of the little gifts in the bonbon. Let that dry. I'm going to, I'm going to distress the edges of this with my distressing tool. Yeah, so I've got a whole pack of these little cards. Everyone thought I was nuts wanting to keep them, but that's what we do, isn't it, us paper crafters? Now I'm going to add some glue ink to this, and I'm going to add some ink on the front of it as well. I'll just grungy that up, and that can go like that. Then I've got this, now that's too big now, so let's get another label. Maybe something like that. Maybe I wouldn't mind something a little bit longer. You might just trim this one down. Cut that edge off so it doesn't look odd. It hasn't got one on the top and the bottom. Ink that. That's fine, I think. So let's stick all that down now. We want it that side or this side? We've got our paste over there. No, I think we'll go back over that side. We can still see the paste. Yeah. Okay, let's get busy and stick this all down. Now because that's all crinkled up, scrunched up, it's not going to stick like completely down. I might put that on an angle, I think, but that won't matter. Bits and pieces poking up just adds to the grunge, doesn't it? Like so. And then our little label. There we go. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got. We've got grunge ticked off now. So that's all of those three. That's all I'm going to do on today's video. I have to do another video for the other two because this is just getting way too long. Okay, so emboss, we've got our tag, we've embossed the background, we've embossed the envelope. This is the embossed side and the envelope is the debossed side. So that's that one. Then we've got scraps, so we've got this one for our scraps. We made a mood board and then we've made a side tuck using that mood board. And grunge, we've got an envelope here that we've scrunched up, inked, added some texture, and we've got some grungy embellishments on our envelope. So that is going to be my grunge. So that's the three for today. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up and like and all those good things. So yeah, thank you for joining me, and I hope you can join me when I post my next video. I'm just going to add this little flower down here. It's not really grungy, but it's just a little bit of something. It doesn't really stand out, but we can see it's there. Okay, alright, see you next time. Bye.